right to Audrey, who has a question for President Trump. Audrey, right here. There we go. Hi, Audrey.
Hi. Mr. President, thank you. Pennsylvania thanks you. Bucks County thanks you for everything you're doing for our country.
Thank you very much.
We look at your energy and makes me get up and say, if he can do it, I can definitely get up and do everything I got to do.
Thank you very much.
I want to say Republicans have failed to come up with an alternative plan to Obamacare. How do you plan to rally the Republicans around a plan, and what would be included in that?
Thank you very much. It's a great question and very important, health care. And I think it's probably the thing that I'm most disappointed that I haven't been able to say what a good job we've done. I haven't been able to sell what a great job we've done. First of all, I got rid of the individual mandate, which was the worst part of Obamacare. That's where you paid a fortune not to pay for horrible, health care and insurance. And it had a tremendous impact. Pre-existing conditions, 100% we take care of. But we have many health care plans now where it's 60%, even 65% less expensive than Obamacare. It's better than Obamacare. And what we really have left is the carcass of Obamacare, or you could call it new health care, because without pre-existing, without the whole thing with the individual mandate, it's a whole different ballgame. It's a much different plan. And what we'd like to do is totally kill it, but come up before we do that with something that's great. What we've done is we've really managed Obamacare, the remaining portion. We got rid of the bad part, but the remaining portion really well. And, before I got involved, what was happening with the rates on Obamacare? They were going up at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We are managing it. And I had a decision to make. This was very important. I said to my people, and we have great people, Seema, Azar, great people that are so good at it. I said, I have a little problem. Do we manage it great until we get something much better? Or do we manage it poorly and say Obamacare is horrible? And I said, we've got to do the right thing. We've got to manage it really, really good. So it's not great health care, but we're managing it fantastically. And you don't see all those stories about the rates going through the roof anymore because we know what we're doing. At the same time, we want to get you really fantastic health care. If we can win back the House, we'll be able to do that. We have to win back the House, keep the Senate, keep the White House. We'll be able to do that. Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to follow up quickly on that, because the issue of pre-existing conditions,
right.
You say you're going to protect them,
right.
But your administration is also fighting Obamacare in the courts. So how do you promise people that you're going to protect them based on that?
That's what I said. We want to terminate Obamacare because it's bad. Look, we're running it really well, but we know it's defective. It's very defective. We got rid of the worst part. And that was a very important thing. Getting rid of the individual mandate was a very important thing. But we want to get something. If we can get the House, you'll have the best health care, health insurance anywhere on the planet. But we have to get the House back. Now, that means we have to hold the Senate. We have to get the House. We have to obviously keep the White House. But what we're doing is managing it really well. Now, it's a case, it's called Texas versus, you understand, it's Texas is silly. They want to terminate it. But everybody there is also saying, and everybody, we have our great senator from Pennsylvania. Thank you very much, Pat, for being here. And Pat Toomey. But very important, and by the way, our great congressman, I have to say, they were warriors, right? Real warriors in terms of the fake impeachment, I will tell you that. But so Texas is, and it's Texas and many states, they're trying to terminate, but they want to put something that's much better. They're terminating it to put much better. And they've all pledged that pre-existing conditions, 100% taken care of.
Immigration.
Thanks.
Next question is from Jennifer, and she has a question about this issue.
Hi.
Hi, thank you, Mr. President. This is truly an honor and one of the best days of my life. Just don't tell my husband.
Wow.
And I want to know, how are you going to control the illegal immigration without support from the Democratic Party?
Well, it's been hard, but we've done it incredibly. It could have been. We have things called loopholes, and the loopholes are terrible, like lottery, where you give lotteries. They pick lotteries, and they have people coming into our country. We have ended catch and release. We have right now 27,000 Mexican soldiers on our border saying that, if they don't do that, we're going to have to be very tough on Mexico, and they're doing it because our soldiers aren't allowed to be there for a lot of reasons. And, we're very politically correct as a nation. Mexico perhaps is slightly less politically correct. And we have the best numbers that we've had in many, many months. We've had, I guess it's now 9 or 10 months where the numbers are way down, and we're going to keep them down. But we need the wall. And most importantly, The wall is way under construction. We're up to 129 miles already. Where we have a wall, by the way, nobody's coming through, practically nobody. We will have, by early next year, almost 500 miles of wall. And once we have that wall, it's going to stop drugs. It's going to stop big percentages of everything coming in. Okay? And we're really doing a job. And by the way, it's very important because I could have done a much less expensive version. I could have done a much easier version, but a version that people would get over very easily. You've seen the people that get caught on top. It's very high and very powerful. We are building exactly what the Border Patrol wanted. They wanted a very specific wall. You had to be able to see through it to the other side. You want to see where the people. I thought, before I got involved, I said I could build just a nice concrete plank wall, throw it up. That would be no good. It wouldn't work. We built the wall that everybody has been dreaming about in terms of law enforcement for many years. So we're at to 129 miles. We'll be at 500 miles in a very short distance. It's really moving up quickly. It's a big difference. Thank you.
A lot of questions, by the way, about the wall. Also, a lot of questions, Mr. President, about the national debt. Since being president, you've signed into law $4.7 trillion of debt, including $2.1 trillion of discretionary spending. Understand that you're spending on the military as well.
Right. When
you ran for president, at one point, you said that you would pay off the debt within 8 years. So now we're about 4 years in, and the debt is up $3.5 trillion. That's about 18%. Republicans and Democrats obviously are not talking about the national debt a lot on Capitol Hill or on the campaign trail. So
But I talk about it.
Do you care about the national debt?
I do. Very much. And I'll always talk about it because to me it's very important. Now, the good thing about the debt is we're paying very little interest, almost nothing. This is a great interest climate. In fact, I want to refinance the debt. But I had to fix the military. The military was depleted. I had to fix the military. It's one thing to say, gee, we did a good job on the debt, or gee, we did a good job in the budget, and you have people from other countries running up the White House lawn. Maybe they took over our country, but I did one hell of a job on the budget, right? No, I had to fix the military, $2.5 trillion. We had to do other things. The country, when I took it over, was in very bad shape. Remember this, President Obama he more than doubled. He put more debt on than all of the other presidents of the United States combined. Combine all the debt of every other president, and I took it over. We had $20 trillion worth of debt on the country, and actually more than that. And we had a lot of commitments for other things. And on top of it, it's one thing, you take over something and you have debt, you have a building, you have debt, but the building's fixed up. The country was a mess. We were in all these wars all over the place.
But this would be a focus of a second term?
Oh, absolutely. But when the trade deals kick in, now, again, we were disturbed by what's going on with the virus, but that's going to be fine, and everybody, it's going to be fine. But, that was a disturbance. But I will say this, when these trade deals kick in, and when the economy is the best economy we've ever had, it's nothing compared to what it's going to be when the trade deals kick in.
But if you don't cut something in entitlements, you'll never really deal with the debt.
We'll be cutting, but we're also going to have growth like you've never had before. We've never had growth like we're experiencing. We will be experiencing when they kick in. China, as an example, they didn't do anything with us. They're now spending $250 billion a year, and that's only for phase one. Phase two is going to be even more so. It's $250 billion. I just made a deal with Japan where they're paying $40 billion. They never gave us anything. All they do is sell us cars for no tax coming into the country. South Korea, I made a deal, and then I made the USMCA deal with Canada and Mexico, replacing the worst deal, which was made by the way, which was made by Joe. Okay, I didn't want to say Sleepy Joe because I want to be respected. I want to respect him.
But you got it.
He looks like he's going to be a candidate, and I just say, how did that happen? But no, Joe Biden, in all fairness, Joe Biden made a deal. NAFTA, he approved it. He was pushing it. It's the worst trade deal ever made. We're terminating NAFTA. We have the USMCA. China, if you look at what happened between China and Mexico and Canada, what they were doing to this country, how they were taking advantage of us, Canada was charging us 300% tariffs. Now we have it really in good shape.
All right. Mr. President, turning to foreign policy, John Sullivan has a question. John? There you are.
Hi, Mr. President. Thanks for coming to Pennsylvania tonight. So my question's, ever since you've taken office in January 2017, North Korea has been in the news, and it's on the minds of many Americans, and just like myself. So if you're elected again this year, what's your plan moving forward with what you've already done with North Korea?
Sure. I don't think it's on the minds of too many Americans, to be honest with you, but it should be, okay? And it's good that it's on your mind, because it's big stuff, and they do have a lot of power, a lot of nuclear power. So I don't get credit for this, and maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. But when I became president, I was told by President Obama, sitting in the Oval Office in probably our only meeting, essentially, that was enough for me. But I was told...
And you haven't talked to him since?
I was at the funeral of President Bush, sat next to him, and I said, hello, and then I said, goodbye. That's about it. No, I didn't like the job he did. I didn't like the job that he and Biden did. I didn't like the position they put us in. I didn't like what he did to our military. We didn't even have a military. Our military was so depleted. And I tell this story, and I hate to tell it because it's embarrassing, but right now we have more ammunition than we've ever had. It's all over the place. But when we were having difficulty with a certain country, remember Donald Trump is going to start a war right away. Well, here it is. We're almost 4 years out. There's been no war, and we're respected again. But I was told by a general, sir, please don't do that. Why? We have no ammunition. This is the condition we were left in. When you look at so many different problems that we were left, and with countries. But he said the biggest problem we have is North Korea. That's what you're alluding to. And I have a good relationship with him. I said, did you ever call him? The answer is yes, he did. But I will tell you, I don't think they admit that. Maybe they do. But called many times. And Kim Jong-un did not want to talk to him. And me, he wanted to talk to. And we met in Singapore, and we met in Vietnam. And I also went to the border, the first person ever to walk over, from et cetera, et cetera. And we have a very good relationship, understanding. Let's see what happens. But, the pundits say, isn't it terrible what he's done? I gave nothing. The sanctions are on. They want to see if they can do something. But I haven't given anything. If the other side got in, you would right now be in a big war with North Korea. Maybe it would be over by now. But you would almost immediately you would have started. And if you remember the rhetoric at the beginning, that was very tough rhetoric. But that rhetoric got us to a place, and the Olympics became successful because of me in South Korea, because all of a sudden they called, they said, we'd like to be, participate. They didn't sell any tickets because nobody wanted to go to the Olympics. All of a sudden, North Korea calls up and says, we want to be a participant in the Olympics. Everybody fell off their seat. That was because of me. And by the way, the president of South Korea gives total credit for that. So it became successful. The bottom line is I have a very good relationship with him. I cannot guarantee anything, but for 3 years, we've spent nothing. We're getting sanctions, and we're not in war with North Korea, which is not bad.
All right, Mr. President, thank you.